What's up, guys? Rodney Skinner here. Guess what? I got some bad news. I think I'm coming down with something. I don't know what it is, but it appears to be an acute case of nostalgia fever. Whenever I get that feeling, I just gotta talk about it. And so I'm just in that space, you guys. And so just thinking about some of my favorite shows that I grew up watching in the 90s when I was a kid. And, just thinking about favorite shows from sitcoms to cartoons and even game shows as well. And just thinking about classic game shows that I watched when I was a kid. And even those before my time. When you think about classic game shows like Concentration, $100,000 Pyramid, Family Feud, Hollywood Squares, and the list just goes on and on. The Price is Right, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. How's it going, Pat? What's going on, Vanna? And so just thinking about these classic game shows and Shop Till You Drop and all that, but there's one game show in particular that stood out to me, and that was Supermarket Sweep. And so I'm sure you all remember this show. And for me, growing up when I was a kid, watching this show with my family, we would watch it together at dinner, and we will participate in everything. And this show is just a fun show, and it's a show that we can all relate to. We can all relate to going to the supermarket, going to the grocery store, and buying different foods and things like that, different products, different items, and all that stuff. And going there with your kids and how your kids want a specific food, like their favorite snack or their favorite cereal and whatever and all that stuff. And so that definitely was me when I was a kid, going to the grocery store with my mother. And so that was definitely me. And with me going like, I want peanut butter crunch, or I want Skittles and all that stuff, And so it just takes me back to when I was a kid, And so that show, Supermarket Sweep, is such an awesome show, and I still watch it to this day. I watch it on Buzzr as well as YouTube. You can watch it on Buzzr, and there are also episodes on YouTube as well. And so for those of you who know and for those of you who don't know, Supermarket Sweep is a game show that takes place in a supermarket. There are 3 teams, and it's pretty much trivial questions about brand names, different foods, and different items and things like that, and the prices of the items and things like that. It tests your dollar sense and all that stuff, and also the big sweep with the contestants running up and down the aisles, grabbing everything that you can possibly imagine into your carts and all that stuff, and the final sweep looking for that $5,000 and everything. And so who doesn't want to do that? It's just fun. It's just such a fun show. And so Supermarket Sweep was a show created by the late, great Al Howard. And he was a genius. And, that show still holds up today. And, I have so many memories of that show. And all the games on that show, like the mini sweep. And these trivial games like this or that, and the 30-second shootout, yeah, and of course the round robin game, which is my favorite, the scrambled letters of guessing that particular item or brand name and all that, and so those are my favorite games. And of course the big sweep is always exciting to watch, seeing the contestants run up and down the aisles, getting all these different things, all these different items, all these different products. And so it's a fun show, and it still holds up to this day. I can't stress it enough. It still holds up. And so it's such an awesome show. And from my understanding, around 2017, 2018, they did a reboot of the show. And Leslie Jones was the host of the reboot. And in my honest opinion, the reboot really wasn't all that good. In fact, it was terrible. And so Leslie Jones, of course, is a great comedian, and everybody knows her from SNL, Saturday Night Live. She's a great comedian. She's funny, but when she became the host of the reboot, it was pretty much centered around her and not the contestants. It was much different when David Ruprecht, who was the original host of Supermarket Sweep. And so the difference between Leslie and David, Leslie, it was centered around her. The spotlight was on her, not the contestants. When David was the host, it was about the contestants. And that was what made him a great host. And thinking about other hosts who put the spotlight on the contestants, like the late great Alex Trebek, who was the host of Jeopardy, the original host of Jeopardy, and Pat Sajak, who was the host of Wheel of Fortune. The focus was on the contestants. And so David Ruprecht, who was the original host of Supermarket Sweep, the focus was on the contestants. And of course, you remember back in the 90s with David wearing those loud Bill Cosby-like sweaters. And man, honestly, he looked much cooler in the shirt and tie and the slicked hair. He looked much cooler. He looked like a real grocery store manager, you know? And so I personally like that look better with the shirt and tie and the slicked hair. It made him look cooler. It made him look a lot hipper. And so he definitely was a great host and a great actor as well. You know, I've seen him, of course, in Three's Company and other shows that he guest starred on as well. And so he's a great actor and a great guy. He's a genuine great guy, you know. And of course, who doesn't remember the iconic theme song, of course, you know. And so the theme song itself just screams instant nostalgia. Chris Ryan, who composed the Supermarket Sweep theme song, and I actually did a cover of the Supermarket Sweep theme song. I actually did my own rearrangement of it. And Chris Ryan himself commented on that video, which was very humbling to me. And for me, you know, I just did it the way I heard it, you know. And as far as the saxophone solo was concerned, and from my understanding, as far as the saxophone is concerned, Dave Koz was the one who did the saxophone solo on that theme song. And Dave Koz, of course, is an incredible musician, phenomenal sax player. He's one of my favorite saxophonists. And he is just amazing. And for me, you know, I knew I couldn't replicate the saxophone solo. I could only do it the way I heard it in my head, the way it sounded to me, you know? And so that was pretty much what I did. And so you guys can check it out. I got the link at the bottom. You can check it out. And so, yeah, you know, Chris Ryan was a genius keyboardist, a genius composer. And honestly, you know, if they had hired Chris to do the music for the reboot, it would have been a little bit better, you know? And so if they had let Chris do the music for the reboot and do an updated version of the Supermarket Sweep theme song, you know, with new sounds and things like that, I think the reboot would have worked a little better. But it turns out it wasn't the case. And so they only did one season of the reboot, which was a good thing they did, and it's a good thing that they canned it after that, you know, because it was just terrible. It was just awful. You know, you just can't beat the classic. You can't beat the 90s and the early 2000s of Supermarket Sweep. It was just the best. And so that's what it is. And so it's an iconic theme song, iconic game show. And so I still love it to this day, and I still watch it to this day. And so what do you guys think? What are some of your favorite games from that show? My favorite, of course, was the round robin game, and of course the big sweep. And so what was your favorite game on that show? Talk to me. And also be sure to check out my single as well, Desirable. And so check it out. It's available on Bandcamp. You can purchase it. It's some really good feel-good music. And so go ahead and check it out. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And remember, the next time you're at the checkout stand and you hear the beep, think of all the fun you can have on Supermarket Sweep. And so you guys take care. I'll see you next time. Peace.